Joining me on the line right now is the 2014 Boxino middleweight champion. He returns to the ESPN airwaves this Friday as he takes on Bryan Vera at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino in Verona, New York. He is the Mongoose, Willie Monroe Jr. Willie, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. So you're back on ESPN right away. You're going to be facing Bryan Vera to kick off your year. How has training camp been going so far in what is probably the biggest step up of your career?
Training camp has been great, man. Training camp has been great. Like I said, like I've told a couple other people, we've had an extended training camp. I had the pleasure to be in Floyd Mayweather's gym, sparring with Ishe Smith for about 3 weeks, and then I had my 5-week training camp. So had about a nice 8-week training camp.
Now, are you still training in Florida with Tony Morgan? Is that still your home base?
Yep. This is where I'm at. I always come out, originally from Rochester, New York, and about, 4 weeks before a fight, I'll fly out here and train. So, Tony Morgan's my head trainer.
How different is the environment, not just the weather, but how different is the environment in Tony's gym in Florida than it was when you were basically by yourself training in Ithaca?
It's just, it's more like, it's like a family down here, man. There's so many other fighters down here, and we're right in Winter Haven, where Tampa's 45 minutes west and Orlando's 45 minutes east. So we have all types of sparring, great sparring, and guys have come in from all over to spar with us. So it's one of those. It's a good position to be in, where you're not like scratching at the walls for sparring or trying to get into a place to train. Like, it's a family setting down here. It's real fun.
Now, you mentioned being in the Mayweather gym when you were working with Ishe, and that's a very, very unique environment that you're probably not going to find anywhere else with guys banging on the canvas and whatnot. Was it a little intimidating the first time you walked into the Mayweather gym?
No, never intimidated. I'm never intimidated, man. It was, I just smiled at it and said, let's go. That's the type of guy I am. It was never intimidating, It was actually fun, so.
Now, obviously, the biggest moment of your career, we brought it up, the fact that you won the Boxino tournament in the middleweight division last year. When they approached you to be in that tournament, you seemed to jump at it right away, and there were a lot of fighters that turned that tournament down. Why did you decide to jump in and take that risk?
Well, it's just like, what I've always said in boxing, and what I've always said and what my grandfather raised me to be is, one, may the best man win, and even the guys that signed up for the tournament, some of their managers were calling my manager saying, oh, we can petition that our fighters don't fight each other to make sure. And, my manager called me, was like, is there anyone you have reservations? I said, man, listen, throw my name in the hat, draw 2, and keep it moving. I don't care. I'll fight all 6 of them, all 8 of them, all 7, I meant, 8 including myself. I'll fight all 7 of them the same night if I can. That's just the type of person I am, man. I love the competition. I've been fighting since I was 6. It isn't too much out there that I haven't seen, that I can adjust to, that I can adapt to and execute. So that's the thing that made me want to. And it was an opportunity. It was more money. We fought on TV, and it was and the last 2 fights were ironically 2 hours from my hometown. So I'm like, all I got to do is get past that first one, which I was, in the heat of the battle, being in his backyard, a small ring. The officials weren't in my favor. So all I said is that once I get past the first one, then, the last 2 I should be able to have a little bit of favor, being for the fact that it's 2 hours from home. And it worked out good.
Well, I mean, you took a risk to get a big opportunity, as you were talking about, being able to fight for some money, to get on TV. It was maybe part of the reason that you jumped at it, the fact that you felt that you were held back when you were with Lou DiBella. I know you felt back in the day when you were working with Lou that maybe you didn't get the opportunities that you should have at that point in your career. Did you feel that this was a way that you could go and make up for some of that lost time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer in God. I know God doesn't make mistakes. Everything happens for a reason. And, everything that, every decision I've made, I prayed on it first. And if God tells me to go do it, I go do it. If he tells me no, I don't care if a billion people are telling me to do it, I won't do it. So, I mean, I just, as far as Lou DiBella is concerned, that was a chapter in my life. And it was good while I was with him. I fought on a couple of networks while I was with him and got a little bit of recognition. But being with Banner Promotions right now has probably been the best thing that happened in my career.
I know, obviously, that ended after the Darnell Boone fight, and you've talked about this plenty in the past, that you really saw the other side of boxing. Obviously, you're riding that high right now where everyone is really high on you, and we're talking about world titles for you, but you saw that other side where everyone kind of goes away as soon as you take that first L.
Yeah. I mean, but it's the nature of the game. You know, I knew what it was when I came into this. You know, I mean, you got to realize I was raised in a fighting family, so the business was taught to me, you know, before I was old enough to understand what the business is. So, you just chalk it up and keep moving. I mean, you see what I did. Not only am I world class, feel like I'm a world class fighter and have championship intangibles, but in and outside of the ring, you know, I didn't give up. I stayed training. I stayed in the gym. I grabbed 2 jobs, and even though I had 2 jobs, I was still training twice a day, just scratching and clawing. And slowly but surely, I started putting things back together. And when you're that hungry and that determined, you can't be denied.
Was there ever a point, though, and you mentioned having to carry 2 jobs at the same time when you were still a professional fighter? Was there a point when you didn't think that you were going to make it? I know you said in another interview that you felt embarrassed when you were working at Foot Locker and then you had to go to the gym. Was there a point when you said, I don't know if this is going to work out for me?
Yeah, plenty of times. There's plenty of times just sitting there because you have to realize I have other options too. I'm educated. I went to college. You know what I mean? I have my associates in physical education. There's so many other things I could have dibbled and dabbled in and been successful and made some good money. And it was plenty of times where I was just like, man, I should just go back and work on my bachelor's, or man, I should just leave this boxing thing alone. But then again, like I said, my firm believes in God. You know, God wouldn't have brought me that far to just say, okay, this is the end. You know, it just couldn't end like that.
Well, you know? It certainly all paid off so far, and I think you made a lot of believers, especially in the finals against Brandon Adams. You showed that obviously you can box on the outside. Everyone already knew that, but you beat him up on the inside as well. The one thing I found interesting was the fact that you guys seemed to be the best of friends when that fight ended. He was holding your child. Did you have a friendship with him going into that fight, or did that just blossom coming out of the ring with him?
It happened going in because me and Brandon, if you go and look back at the different polls, a lot of people were saying me and Brandon were the least favorite to win. And then he went in there and beat the most experienced guy and stopped him. And I went in there and beat a guy in his backyard with all the odds against me, with the hitting below the belt. They put me in a 16-by-16 ring. You hear how I'm a mover boxer, and they put me in a phone booth. We both had everything going against us, and we prevailed. And we were both sitting in Hammond, Indiana after our wins in the buffet, and was like, look, I told him, I said, look, yo, I think you're a real good fighter. He said the same to me. And I was like, even though we may see each other in the finals, I wish you the best of luck, man, because, you know, you're a good fighter. And it was like we had a good conversation. Then it came to the semifinals, and I fought Kopalenko. So after he beat Gatica and I beat Kopalenko, we were like, yo, remember what we talked about last time? So I guess it's going to be us. And, you know, after the fight, you know, there was no hard feelings. And, you know, another reason why I let him hold my son is because I knew his wife was her due date was very soon. And that was my firstborn right there. And I let him hold my son, and I just told him, I gave him the words that Miguel Cotto gave me when I was in camp with him, like, don't let this boxing world take you away from your family, especially your kid, because they grow so fast and you don't want to miss out on any time with them. And, you know, he held my son while they strapped the belts on me. And you know, I felt like it was a more stand-up and charismatic thing to do because, you know, not only was he under the pressure of the fight, his firstborn was on the way, too. So I just wanted him to know that no matter what happened, win, lose, or draw, your family and your kids come first, man, and good luck with that. And I've spoken to Brandon since then, so.
And I believe he's going to be on the same card this weekend as well. I'm sure. Are you going to be there out cheering him on, or at least watching for the monitor in the back?
Yeah, definitely. I'll definitely be there to cheer him on, man. You know, he grabbed a little bit of a fan base in Verona. You know, everybody liked him up there. So I mean, like that's almost like a second home to him. So you know, and we're on the same team. So I got to root him on. That's my boy.
All right, well, let's talk about the fight on Friday against Bryan Vera. I mentioned probably the biggest step up in your career, and traditionally Vera's been a guy who, if you can beat him and beat him conclusively, that means you're a real contender in the middleweight division. Is that what you're looking to prove on Friday night?
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's what you want to prove, but I mean, like when you look at this boxing world, you can beat, a Bryan Vera, and they'll say, okay, you're a top 10, you're ready to go to the top, and then you'll have to fight 3 more Bryan Veras. You know what I mean? So we know how the business goes, but at the end of the day, I think Bryan Vera is the opponent that that definitely will put me in a position to say, okay, this kid belongs at the top of the middleweight division. I mean, look who he's fought. I mean, he gave Chavez 2 fights of his life. You know what I mean? He gave Chavez a tougher fight the first time than Sergio Martinez gave Chavez, who was a linear middleweight champion. And everybody thought he won the first fight. And, look what he's done in boxing, man. You know what I mean? From early in his career at junior middleweight all the way up to super middleweight. And he's fought a field of guys and has beat them. So you have to respect someone like that coming in, and you have to know that if you can overcome a mountain like that, then you belong in the top of the middleweight division, because he's fought the who's who of the middleweight.
Now, I know late last year there were at least talks about you maybe fighting Matt Korobov for the WBO title. Do you think that you're ready to jump in for a fight like that, or do you think that you should have to go through a guy like Bryan Vera before you get that crack?
I don't mind going in with I wouldn't mind flying either way, because one thing I know I could do is fight. There's a lot of things I don't do good, but I fight like a son of a bitch. I tell you that. It really don't matter who you put in front of me. I'm gonna fight. But actually, I heard that Matt Korobov said that we pulled out of negotiations for fighting with him. I never got a call to fight him. I would have jumped on that quick though, because I'm rated number 7 by the WBO. But actually, his team was asking my team to spar with him to better prepare him for Billy Joe Saunders or Dennis switch to Andy Lee, because they were both slick southpaw. So I don't see how I could get a call for him to fight him, but then they asked me to come spar with him. But, you never can tell with people in this business. But, I would have took that. I would have took that, man. And if another shot comes up and it's right and it's feasible and it's right for my career, that's a move I have to take,
Well, and especially the way that he wound up looking against Andy Lee, you must be sitting thinking, man, I wish he would have actually called me.
Yeah, I know, right? Andy Lee has that game changer and that right hook.
So before I let you go, I do have to ask you. You mentioned that you have lots of talents. I wanted to ask about your music career. Is there a chance that we see that firing up? I know you opened for Tank and Genuine. You guys had some stuff going. Are you going to get back in the studio at some point?
Well, the group broke up. So 2011 was a bad year for me. First and lost, and the group broke up, and just a bunch of different things happened. So the group broke up back in 2011. But it was me, my cousin, my brother, and a really good friend of ours that formed the group. So when the group broke up, me and my brother was like, well, we can't break up. We brothers, So we were like, we'll start what we call the Team Monroe movement. And it's my brother's music and my boxing. And if you watch the last 2 fights on ESPN, you'll see my brother walk me to the ring singing. He's done special tracks for my ring walk music. So you probably, if you see me back on stage, it'll probably be backing my brother up. It won't be out there like the main man, or you'll probably hear me on, on some of his songs. But other than that, man, I'm strictly fighting right now. I still sing in church. I still sit around and sing with my friends. I sing with my kids. But I'm strictly about whooping ass right now.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you in your main job on Friday night against Bryan Vera. And if you are back on the microphone, we're looking forward to that as well. Thank you.